Hello, welcome back. When last we left off, we had been working on a high oven to make steel so we can make a reactor. Since then, all we really had left to do for the high oven was to finish the bricks, which was a rather laborious process of sitting here making them one by one. Needed, I guess, about a stack or stack and a half of bricks. And making them one by one was saved you the trouble. So we got all the bricks we needed. I went ahead and put it together. It's basically just a 3x3 of the bricks on the bottom to make 9. Then 8 blocks in the center, one of which is the controller and the other is the drain. And then another 9 bricks on top, 3x3. Anybody who's ever made a railcraft coke furnace is pretty much familiar with the design. I've hooked it up with, ME cable and this stuff. It's basically the same setup as our other smelter over there. Liquid glue duct pulls the molten steel out into a basin. Whenever it turns into a block, the item duct sucks it out into a chest, and the import bus pulls it out of the chest into our ME system. This export bus here is feeding it the stuff that it needs, namely charcoal, gunpowder, redstone, sand, and iron. When this thing's on, it'll heat up, get up to about 2,000 degrees, and it'll start cooking whenever it's lower temperature, but it doesn't reach its maximum speed until it hits 2,000. You can make this taller and just leave, increase the number of 8 block stacks in between the 9 on top and the 9 on bottom, leaving a hole in the middle. But I think that only increases the size of its internal storage here, which we're not really even using anyways, so save you the trouble of watching it. I already built it, already let it run for a while, made a bunch of steel blocks. Those were in the system, except our next step in making the reactor was to make all the pieces, which since it has to cook coal into graphite bars and then yellorium into the dust into ingots and all that jazz, I went ahead and made all the pieces and put most of them together. Ran out of yellorium at one point, so I ended up having to spend more time switching this over to sand and letting it run. I did add a third autonomous activator just to speed it up a bit. I also think this wasn't here before. I added lag. Quit it. Added a level emitter here for making charcoal for our furnace over there, high furnace. Our laser drill has been slowly pulling stuff out. I replaced a bunch of the lead stone cabling with hardened energy conduits and ran a cable over here to it, to our reactor, which I'll now show you. Layer reactor casing, some on the sides, a little bit of glass on the edges, glass around the top. This is a 7x7 with 9 control rods and fuel cells in the middle. And I've got it surrounded with what's it called? Resident Ender. That's what it's called. So the only piece left is this piece of glass here, which I have not put in yet. So just put that in, and it should. There we go. Change into a multi-block structure, and now it's a working reactor, or it would be if it had fuel. Yay! I already set up the ME cables over here, but I haven't yet set up the export bus to pull the ingots out and put them in the reactor. So let's get a ingot, put it in the bus over here, it should start filling this up with fuel. Yep, there it goes. Yeah, it's 100% full. Heat, core heat, energy. Alright, so all we gotta do is turn it on, and hopefully this will work as intended. Okay. Yeah, it's filling up pretty fast. Yeah, it's not bad. 4,000 RF per tick. That's pretty stable. Temperature stable. Fuel consumption is low. Alright. I also moved our ender generators over here. And I also built a solar generator, basically as an emergency backup. In case something happens to all of our fuel sources or whatnot. I thought about just making a bunch of them. They're kind of expensive on diamonds, but they normally would be worth it, except in extra utilities, which is the mod that makes these. They're solar generators. They can either be charging or discharging, depending on the redstone signal. So you have to switch it back and forth between the two for it to work. I guess that might be okay if you had like a light sensor for sensing day and night, and then just have it toggle it automatically. But that, yeah, I'm not gonna fool with that. We've got a reactor. Neener neener. Now, let's see. We can put our Eulorium bar back. We need another. Wait, I think we've got an extra over here. Kind of ran into a shortage of energy conduits because of the lack of redstone. Oops, that's in the wrong place, isn't it? Derp. Okay. Where'd it go? Jumped way over here. How does that make sense? Okay. And that goes there. We should see that jump up real fast. Oh yeah, that's going much faster. Alright. If we look in here, let's see. Yeah, getting all kinds of ore now. Nether iron, bauxite, nether quartz, lapis, coal, iron. Very nice. We'll just let that run for a while. And eventually we will set up a system. We could, let's see. Yeah, this thing is not using power faster than it's making it, or is using power faster than it's making it, so there's no sense in us building another pre-charger, because it's already eating up all the excess power. Right, this should be, maybe not. It's holding steady. Huh. I don't get it. Either still charging. Alright. So that's that pretty much done. Yeah, like I said, we were having a power shortage. Real bad. I think that should pretty much solve all our problem. We could take this off. put it over there with the others, which I think we're going to do. And some interpearls. Do we have any? No. Pull that up. And let it go. It's strange though, because normally if it's getting more power than it can use, it should fill up. Oh, maybe these conduits can't push out enough power. Okay. I'm probably going to have to... Yeah, I'll have to use heavier gauge conduits. But that'll have to wait. Or maybe not. Let's see what we need for those. Let's see. Leadstone, hardened redstone energy conduit. Yeah. Hardened glass and electrum. That's odd. Oh. Okay. Yeah, and then you put redstone in there to fill them up. Yeah, because this only transfers 400 RF per tick. Okay. Alright, so we're going to need to make some of these. And we don't have any hardened glass. Let's make about 10. No, hardened glass requires obsidian, doesn't it? Yeah, obsidian dust. We've got a little bit of a stock. So let's craft some hardened glass. Maybe 20? No, do 10. There we go. And let's see, while that's going, we're going to need a what's it called? Yeah. Redstone energy cell, perhaps. Is that it? No. Leadstone, that was it. Oh. There it is. Do we have that much? Yes, we do. And this will act as a buffer between the two cable types because they normally don't connect. So, we take this one out, put that in. Come on. What is the problem? What is the problem? What? Why can't I place this down? I can place that down. Place that down, even though I didn't intend to. But it won't let me place this. Was there another step that I missed? Probably. I'm very distracted by the whining of the cat over there, because she got locked up for being bad and won't stop meowing so loudly. It's probably getting picked up by the microphone. Hang on, I'm going to deal with this.